Evening, I'm Jonatha Giddens from Hawaii. I'm a marine ecologist working there. And tonight I would like to share with you a story about how a little blue ball that I found floating in the ocean gave me the answer to a question that I had been asking. So I was out on my first research cruise with NOAA. We were in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, far removed from the main Hawaiian Islands where I live, where all the people are. In the northwestern Hawaiian Islands is a protected area, and it's just wild. It belongs to the ocean and to the wildlife there. And we had been researching for a couple of weeks now on our month-long cruise up there. And again, as I said, my first time, I was just ecstatic. I was so amazed to be diving in the water every day and just seeing these huge sharks come swimming by and these schools of trevally and the biggest parrotfish I'd ever seen. It was just this thriving place that was so beautiful and such a pleasure to be diving in every day. On top of that, not only was the environment beautiful, but my experience on the ship was amazing too, because of the way that all the scientists and crew took care of one another. And so we were having a wonderful time diving, but the way that everybody interacted together made it even better. It made us thrive on that ship. And so I was so ecstatic to be up there. I remember being on the bow of this great big ship and watching the sunset over the Pacific and feeling so grateful. But that evening, as I watched the sunset, I also had this feeling of conflict within me and a feeling of sadness, and I wondered, is this place so beautiful because humans are removed from it? And are places only allowed to thrive if there are no humans there? So then what is our role as humans? Do we only inflict harm on the other places and the wildlife around us? And so this question was weighing heavy on my heart as I remember looking up into the sky and just wondering about humans and our role here on this earth. Do we only destroy things? Are we capable of anything else? And so with this heavy question in my heart, I went back into the wet lab and buttoned up from the day and put everything away, went to bed to get ready for the next day of diving. The sun rose early. We got ready to go out on our next day of diving. We all hopped into our little orange boats that were deployed off of the great big boat, and away went our orange boats to go survey at the different parts of the atoll. That was our responsibility for that day. So another morning of wonderful dives, and the sun, it was noon. It was time to take our surface interval and our lunch time. So we drove into this beautiful turquoise blue lagoon, and we laid our anchor there in the sand. And as our boat just gently rocked back and forth in this blue lagoon, we warmed up in the sunshine. And as we were dancing around the boat and getting warm, there came alongside the boat a little blue glass ball. It was one of those Japanese fishing floats that you might have seen around, these relics of fishing in times past. And so I picked up this ball from the water and I held it in my hands, and I was just so excited to find it, and it made me reflective of the times past, like how old this ball is and how long it had been floating in the ocean. And for the fisher who used this ball before, how much care he might have taken to use this tool to feed his family and to sustain his village. And so thinking about that connection that fishers have with the sea, that it sustains them and that they can help their families and their communities thrive from the sea. And then how long had that ball been floating around in the ocean, and what had it experienced? How many times around the Pacific and through all the currents had it gone? How many storms? There was this delicate blue ball that was just out there for so long, and what had it endured? What had it experienced that it could come up to me that day and be intact? It was delicate, but yet intact. And so as I was holding it and reflecting on this, a perspective in me changed, and the ball began to resemble what the Earth looks like from space, that blue of the ocean. And so I looked at it and I saw the ocean there, and I saw a ship, and I saw a person on that ship looking up, asking about humans and our place here. And as I felt myself looking up and asking, I was also looking down and holding this ball as if it was the precious earth. And I had the answer to my question there as I was holding it. And the answer was in the gesture of the way I was holding this ball. I was holding it dear as if it was the precious earth. And the answer that came to me is that whatever humans hold dear, that will thrive. Just like the fisher holding his family and community dear and catching fish to feed the family, or the way that the scientists on the ship took care of one another and we thrived on our expeditions. Just think about whatever you hold dear, whatever you put your attention to, that will thrive. And so the answer was no, humans are not only capable of destruction, but we are capable of taking care of one another and taking care of our earth, and it will thrive, and all life will thrive. And so that has been my mission, my underlying mission through my work with NOAA and National Geographic, is to help bring these wild places of the ocean into sight and into mind for people to learn more and connect more with the ocean so that they can hold the ocean dear and thrive on this planet. So thank you very much.